All right, now that we've had a chance to look at how to build some modular files and break things out within the index.php, we're going to start branching out into other possible templates in the WordPress template hierarchy. And the first one we come to is singular.php. Now, if Singular isn't available, it falls back to index.php. But what I want to also point out are what templates fall back to singular.php. So if you have page.php, that's going to control pages, single.php controls posts, and attachment.php controls if you're viewing an attachment page for an individual image. So we'll look at each of these other ones later, but all of these fall back to singular if you don't have it. Or let's say you have page.php but not single and not attachment, or you don't have attachment, it will fall back to singular, and if it doesn't find that, it will fall back to index. Now, I feel two ways about whether you really need a singular.php. If you know you're going to be creating a page, a single, and an attachment, it may be redundant and not really necessary. Also, you may find that your index.php looks the exact same as your singular. So if you find that you're creating a bunch of templates that just have the same code in them, it may be that you don't need them. It is not a good practice to add every single item in the theme hierarchy or every template into your theme. You do make decisions about what you need and the pros and cons of whether you might need it or somebody else might need it. So all of that is just a high level thing to say. We have this template. A number of other popular templates fall back to it. So it's not a bad idea to include, but it also may be redundant if you're going to have a page, single, and an attachment. Okay, so now let's jump in to look at how we would code this out. I'm going to start in my index.php, and just down here at the bottom of the main, I'm going to put a class here, and I'm just going to start labeling these templates. And you would not do this in production, but it's going to be helpful just as we navigate through to see what's loading when. So now I'm going to take this index.php, and I'm going to save it as singular.php. Okay, we're not going to change a single thing inside here except this. And what I want to point out is when is this singular page loading, template loading, and when is the index.php loading. So if we come back to our site, notice that on the home page, singular.php is loading. Perfect. On a sample page, so a static page, singular.php. If we come into our blog, displays everything. Notice that's index.php. So our blog archive does not fall back to index.php. In the same way, let's see what would happen if we go into an actual post and view it. We don't really have our navigation set up completely so. Okay, so that's also falling back to singular. And the last one we said that would fall back to singular is if you ever view a view attachment page. So that attachment page, hey, that's falling back to singular.php too. Great, this is working just how we would expect. I want to point out though that if I come in here and into my widgets, I'm going to add categories and I'm going to add archives. Okay, so if I click into one of these categories now, notice that this is also index.php. So categories, the category thing is not doing that. And also, where's our archives? Archives, these are going to be loading and falling back to index.php, so they don't use singular. So again, the files that fall back to singular are any single pages, posts, or media items or attachments. And again, you may find that singular is helpful to have. You may find that it's not. In this case, it's the exact same file as our index.php. And when I see that, then I probably would say to myself, hey, I'm probably going to take out singular.php because I don't really need it. However, that choice is up to you, and you definitely don't want to remove index.php. So the nice thing about this, though, is that if you wanted to easily distinguish between a single page and maybe an archive page, for example, then you could use singular.php. If your post and your pages don't look different from each other, they've got the exact same stuff in them, then use singular.php. And if you want to fall back for attachments that's different than index and you're not creating its own, then you could use it. So that wraps up singular.php. This one might be new to you. It was added later on than a lot of the other templates, but there we have it. At this point, follow along with what we did. We didn't really do much. Play around in your own theme. You may decide that you don't need it and you just want to wait to look at what these page and single and attachment templates will look like, or you just code it the same as your index for now and we move on.